Sung Jinwoo stepped through the grand entrance of the Korean Hunter Association, his presence commanding immediate attention. The bustling lobby, typically filled with hunters of various ranks, seemed to hush as he moved purposefully towards the reception desk. His calm and composed demeanor exuded a quiet confidence that hinted at the immense power he now possessed. The receptionist looked up, initially unfazed by yet another hunter requesting service. However, as upon reading his application, her eyes widened slightly in recognition. It wasn't every day that a hunter of his notoriety walked in voluntarily, especially for something as unusual as a rank revaluation. Jinwoo greeted with his voice steady and polite and said that he is here for a rank revaluation. She quickly made a call to Jinho, the guild master of White Tiger, her tone indicating the urgency of the situation. Upon being informed of Jinwoo's arrival, the news of his presence and the purpose of his visit left Jinho thrilled and intrigued. Jinwoo waits alongside with rest of the hunters in a lobby. The seasoned hunter beside him offered a gruff reassurance. Process hasn't changed much. Relax. He wasn't buying it. Tales of lives transformed by a single rank swirled in his head, a stark contrast to the countless others who wouldn't see much difference. The man gestured towards a group of figures lurking by the entrance. D-rankers get snatched up by those agents. Different guilds desperate for recruits. They'll take anyone. You don't want that. Heard those small guilds take on crazy dangerous raids. Hunters die left and right. No surprise, really. They can't handle the high-ranking dungeons like the private strike squads, but they're not content with low-level stuff either. Recipe for disaster. He understood the brutal reality. Lives were shaped by these rankings. A hunter's worth wasn't just measured by skill or years of honed swordsmanship. The system created a vast chasm between ranks, an unyielding barrier that years of training might not be enough to breach. The financial disparity was just as stark. This wasn't just about him. It was about rewriting the narrative, about defying the limitations imposed by a single letter grade. Mr. Song, a seasoned swordsman, found himself utterly outclassed by the higher-ranked Kang Taishik. It was a familiar story, a reflection of the Jinwoo's own struggles. Years of raids hadn't propelled him past his current rank, a constant source of frustration, but a flicker of hope ignited within him, things he realized were about to change. Sung Jinwoo, a nervous wreck, stood before a strange machine during his hunter evaluation. The process seemed simple. Place your hand on the glowing orb and wait. But something went wrong. The machine sputtered and malfunctioned, leaving the bewildered administrator muttering about a broken machine. An unsettling silence filled the room as he repeatedly tried to fix it, frustration evident in his voice. This wasn't the first time. 2 years ago, during Cha Hai-in's evaluation, the same thing happened. Error messages flashing on the machine. The situation took a dramatic turn. The administrator's frustration melted into awe. It wasn't the machine that was broken. It simply wasn't powerful enough to handle the immense potential radiating from Sung Jinwoo. This wasn't a regular evaluation. This was something extraordinary. The young man standing before him might be an S-rank hunter, a rare and powerful entity, potentially the 10th S-rank hunter of Korea. Meanwhile, outside the building, a conversation unfolded between Jim Chul and Choi Jong-in. Jim Chul, who had personally evaluated Sung Jinwoo, firmly believed the young man wasn't a reawakened hunter. However, a nagging suspicion lingered in his mind. Could it have been Sung Jinwoo who cleared the red gate and saved the other hunters? Choi Jong-in, however, seemed more interested in a different development. News of a giant winged ant washing ashore in Japan had captured his attention. He dismissed the possibility of Sung Jinwoo being the Red Gate savior, focusing instead on the potential threat posed by these flying ants. Jim Chul expressed doubt about the possibility of flying ants traversing such a vast distance. However, Choi Jong-in assured him that if such a situation arose, all hunters from every guild would be called upon to face the threat. Their hushed conversation was abruptly interrupted by a commotion. Both men turned their heads towards Building B, their curiosity piqued. The unusual activity emanating from there hinted at something significant unfolding within its walls. The revelation was astounding. Mr. Sung's mana levels, the very essence of his power, were beyond the machine's capacity to measure. The administrator, his initial bewilderment replaced with awe, explained the situation. Conducting an accurate evaluation required a more advanced manometer and permission from higher authorities. Disappointment washed over Sung Jinwoo as he learned he would have to wait 3 days. News of the unmeasurable evaluation spread like wildfire through the waiting area. The implications were staggering. Could Could this unassuming young man be the elusive S-rank hunter, the 10th to grace Korea's ranks? The room crackled with excitement and disbelief. Here they were witnessing a potential legend in the making. As Choi Jong-in walks in, the embodiment of the ultimate hunter sent a jolt of electricity through the already charged atmosphere. Whispers morphed into hushed reverence as all eyes turned towards the entrance. This enigmatic figure, the master of Korea's finest guild, held the room captive with his mere presence. He was Choi Jong-in, a force to be reckoned with. Not only did he hold the coveted S rank, but he also wielded immense power as the leader of the Hunters Guild. Notably his guild, the sole one among the 5 major South Korean guilds to boast 2 S rank hunters, operated within the Seoul metropolitan area, the heart of the nation. His arrival promised a new chapter, one that would undoubtedly rewrite the narrative of the day's events. Recognition dawned on Jinwoo's face. Standing before him was Choi Jong-in, the legendary ultimate hunter. Rumors swirled around Choi, painting him as a master of fire magic, capable of leveling an entire building with a single spell. He was the embodiment of power, the very inspiration for Jinwoo's own nickname. A flicker of amusement danced across Jinwoo's lips. The revelation left Jimchul speechless. Jinwoo, the unassuming young man who he had dismissed earlier, was an S-rank hunter, a title reserved for the nation's elite. Choi Jong-in, however, wasn't surprised. He sensed a potent aura emanating from Jinwoo, a power that hinted at exceptional talent. Choi introduced himself as the master of the Hunters Guild, his voice laced with authority. He inquired about Jinwoo's background and expressed his interest in recruiting him, but Jinwoo, consumed by a sense of urgency, brushed past him with a flimsy excuse about needing to get back to work. The audacity of his rejection left the onlookers stunned. Unfazed by the unexpected rebuff, Choi found Jinwoo's calmness intriguing. Perhaps the young man wasn't aware of his stature, or maybe Choi hadn't exerted enough effort to impress him. The swift, silent disappearance further fueled his curiosity. Could Jinwoo be a formidable assassin-type hunter, a master of stealth? Meanwhile, Jinho, another powerful figure, scrambled to reach the building. His motivation was clear: to recruit Jinwoo and strengthen his guild, the White Tiger Guild. With 3 S-rank hunters under their banner, the White Tiger Guild wouldn't just be the strongest in Korea, but a force to be reckoned with on a global scale. Fate, however, seemed to have other plans. Jinho and Choi Jong-in, 2 titans of the hunter world, collided at the entrance. Baek, aware of Jinwoo's true potential, was frustrated to learn he had already left. On the other hand, Choi, piecing together the puzzle, began to suspect Jinwoo as the savior of the Red Gate incident. Baek's presence solidified his suspicions. Baek knew about Jinwoo's abilities, but couldn't have recruited him after the gate, possibly because Jinwoo wasn't someone who could be easily controlled. Their brief interaction with Jinwoo, rich with unspoken possibilities, left both Choi and Baek eager to unravel the mystery surrounding this enigmatic S-rank hunter. Jinwoo returned to the sterile confines of the hospital, the silence broken only by the rhythmic beeping of the machines keeping his mother alive. An unknown illness, a cruel consequence of the Gates' emergence, had rendered her unconscious. Jinwoo, his voice thick with unwavering hope, whispered reassurances, promising her a future where she would wake up as if nothing had ever happened. The silence was shattered by the arrival of Jimchul. He wasted no time, bluntly asking if it was indeed Jinwoo who had single-handedly cleared the double dungeon. Jinwoo, ever polite, acknowledged him with a greeting and a playful remark about their frequent encounters. Jimchul, his posture stiff with formality, offered Jinwoo a position on the surveillance team. Unlike the hunters who fought the beasts, this role focused on managing and monitoring them, essentially acting as a law enforcement unit. He readily admitted the limitations of the role, particularly against S-rank hunters like Jinwoo himself. Jinwoo, however, wasn't interested. He politely declined, his mind elsewhere. Sensing his disinterest, Jimchul pressed on, requesting a meeting between Jinwoo and Go Gun-hee, the chairman of the Hunters Association. Go Gun-hee, a force to be reckoned with despite his age, entered the room. Though well past his 80th birthday, his physique resembled that of a retired wrestler. He extended a warm welcome to Jinwoo, congratulating him on becoming an S-rank hunter. Jinwoo, ever humble, clarified that his official evaluation was still pending. Gun-hee chuckled, dispelling the notion of the re-evaluation's significance. He explained that the advanced manometer merely provided a detailed breakdown of the evaluation results. Its true limitation lay in its inability to measure power exceeding its range. Had it been capable, Jinwoo's results would have displayed an SS rank or even SSS rank. However, such a rating system wouldn't accurately portray the true depth of his power. The chairman went on to reveal the truth behind the re-evaluation period. It wasn't a genuine assessment process, but rather a grace period, a window of opportunity for the association to meet with extraordinary individuals like Jinwoo. He acknowledged that the association wasn't a corporation and couldn't offer substantial financial incentives. However, they had something far more valuable: power. He presented Jinwoo with a proposition to join their ranks, to become one of them, one of the few who wielded the authority to regulate the hunters themselves. Jinwoo remained perplexed. The lengths to which the association was willing to go to secure his loyalty seemed excessive. Go-Gun-Hee shed more light on the situation. He explained the delicate balance of power maintained among the 5 major guilds: Hunters Guild, Fame Guild, White Tiger Guild, Fend Guild, and Knights Guild. Jinwoo's allegiance to any one of them would disrupt this equilibrium, causing a significant shift in the playing field. Traditional government authority wasn't enough to control hunters, as enforcing laws proved difficult. The chairman emphasized a crucial point: governmental authority alone couldn't control hunters. Laws and regulations meant little if hunters refused to comply. This is where the association stepped in. Magical beasts weren't the only threats. Hunters themselves could be equally monstrous. Go-Gun-Hee returned to his initial question, pressing Jinwoo to join the association. Jinwoo, with a hint of apology, politely declined the offer. The chairman's surprise was evident. Perhaps, he mused, Jinwoo was solely motivated by money, but Jinwoo's next words shattered that assumption. His gaze burned with determination. He craved battle. The association, Go-Gun-Hee explained, primarily focused on clearing low-level dungeons, those ranked D or E, which the major guilds deemed insignificant. Jinwoo, on the other hand, craved the challenge of high-level dungeons, a necessity for his growth. Joining the association would essentially block his path to leveling up. He belonged in the heart of the dungeons, not amidst the bureaucracy. As the conversation concluded, Jinwoo excused himself, mentioning his little sister waiting at home. Go-Gun-Hee, impressed by his responsibility, expressed his gratitude for Jinwoo's time. Before leaving, Jinwoo addressed Jimchol's earlier inquiry, finally revealing that he wasn't the one who had vanquished the beasts of the double dungeon. The question lingered heavy in the air. Who then possessed such immense power? Jinwoo turned to the internet, his brow furrowed in concentration. He typed in the Hunters Auction Market. This marketplace, Jinwoo learned, was a combination of online and physical locations. Here, hunters could buy and sell items obtained during raids. Magic imbued all hunter equipment, making even a D-rank sword ridiculously expensive. Jinwoo remembered Mr. Kim mentioning the 3 million won price tag of his own sword. There's no way I can afford anything like that, Jinwoo sighed. Guess I'll just stick with this for now. The system, he realized, heavily favored higher-ranked hunters. Their guaranteed income allowed them to purchase better gear, making hunts faster and safer. High-rank equipment often cost millions, even billions of won. Funding everything himself seemed impossible. There's a good chance I'll face fire attacks in the upper levels of Demon's Castle, Jinwoo strategized. The whole field burns too. I need something fire resistant, but nothing here fits the bill. Disappointment gnawed at him. Perhaps the only way to get the gear he needed was to sell his Orb of Avarice. He was fortunate to even have something valuable. Most artifacts only offered a 20 to 30% strength boost, but this orb doubled magic damage, practically guaranteeing a high selling price. Unlike illegal items, he wouldn't have to resort to the black market. The problem, explaining how he, a mere E-rank hunter, acquired such a powerful artifact. People would talk. His S-rank license application was still in process, leaving him stuck as an E-rank. No high-rank raid team would accept him. Just as despair threatened to consume him, a glimmer of hope emerged. Jinwoo stumbled upon a recruitment notice. A low-rank hunter was needed for a raid. Jinwoo's file landed on Guildmaster Go-Gunny's desk, courtesy of Assistant Guildmaster Jimchol. The photo showed a younger Jinwoo, a stark contrast to the man he was today. E-rank, huh? Gunny mused, considered the weakest among them even. The file detailed Jinwoo's hunting record over the past 4 years. Each raid seemed like a suicide mission. The possibility of Jinwoo being a false ranker, someone who faked his rank, was brought up, but testimonies from those who raided alongside him confirmed he was a true E-rank. What truly baffled them was the 4-year time frame. If Jinwoo had recently awakened his S-rank powers, why wouldn't he use them to save his fellow hunters? The file spoke of Jinwoo's constant injuries, yet his unwavering determination. He couldn't quit, the report stated, because his mother's hospital bills needed paying. A commendable young man, Gunhee thought a rare find these days. News reached them that Jinwoo had joined a raid team. Was this just talk, the director wondered? Perhaps the hefty down payment offered by the Hunters Guild was too tempting to resist. But then came another surprise. Jinwoo hadn't joined a high-action strike squad. Instead, he'd signed up for a mining team. An S-rank hunter choosing to be a miner. What was Jinwoo thinking? Despite being an E-rank hunter with no prior experience, Jinwoo found himself accepted into the mining team for a high-rank dungeon raid. High-rank dungeons were massive, requiring multiple teams to tackle different tasks. The strike squad fought magic beasts, the mining team collected crystals, and the hauling team took care of monster corpses. Since machines wouldn't work inside dungeons, miners relied on magic-infused tools like pickaxes. Excitement bubbled within Jinwoo. This was his first time in a high-ranked dungeon, and he was eager to experience it firsthand. He knew he'd need to enter such dungeons eventually. The dungeon's sheer size was intimidating. Meanwhile, the strike squad led by Hunter Guild's master Choi Jong-in was ready to strike. Choi unleashed a devastating display of magic, incinerating the magical beasts within the brightly lit chamber. Choi Jong-in commands the tanks to prepare, warning that a storm is imminent. The battle rages on, with the strike team observing that they might not be able to use the corpses of the beasts that have been cooked. Despite this, they are in awe of Choi Jong-in's powers, impressed by his abilities every time they witness them in action. Choi Jong-in offers to escort Cha Hae-in to safety, cautioning her about the burnt smell, knowing she has a sensitive nose. Outside the dungeon, the leader of the mining team expresses frustration over the delay, questioning when the strike squad will finish. The assurance that the strike squad is almost done is repeated, emphasizing the importance of ensuring safety before the miners can proceed. The leader reluctantly accepts the explanation, although he remains impatient. As the strike squad completes its task, the miners are instructed to gather their equipment and prepare to head in. Jinwoo observes the members of the strike squad, recognizing them as the country's best hunters. He spots Choi Jong-in and hides his face to avoid recognition. He also notices the second in command, an S-rank hunter and vice guild master, Cha Hae-in. Her calm demeanor and sharp focus are evident as she navigates the aftermath of the battle. Despite the intensity of the situation, she remains composed, a pillar of strength for her team. Her reputation as an S-rank hunter precedes her, and Jinwoo can see why she is held in such high regard. Jinwoo marvels at Cha Hae-in, noting her commanding presence. He thinks to himself about how very few hunters in the world could rival her strength, possibly even surpassing Choi Jong-in. Perhaps she is on a similar level as Chairman Go Gun-hee. Cha Hae-in, on the other hand, senses a powerful presence. For a brief moment, she is reminded of Chairman Go and wonders if he is nearby, but she quickly dismisses the thought, reasoning that someone as busy as Chairman Go wouldn't visit without prior notice. Jinwoo acknowledges her sharp senses, realizing she is more perceptive than he anticipated. The leader of the miners calls out, signaling that it's their turn to enter the dungeon. He urges everyone to get moving, specifically addressing Jinwoo to join them. Jinwoo responds promptly, "Yes, sir." Jinwoo marveled at the sheer size of the A-rank dungeon. Unlike rank determination for magic beasts, gate ranks were based on the mana waves they emitted. The immense amount of mana radiating from this gate explained its enormous size. High-rank beasts were sure to lurk within. A sudden gust of wind, a wave of potent mana, washed over Jinwoo. It emanated from the boss monster. Whispers erupted among the miners. They couldn't believe an E-rank like Jinwoo was on their team. Doubts swirled about his ability to contribute. Jinwoo, accustomed to such treatment, brushed it off, as he wouldn't be here long anyway. Another miner barked orders, urging Jinwoo to get moving. Jinwoo's eyes flashed with a hidden power, momentarily unnerving the man. The miner, shaken, scurried off to confirm Jinwoo's E-rank status with his colleagues. The hauling team had already begun their work, collecting the beast corpses left behind by the strike squad. The miners, including Jinwoo, would be responsible for extracting the valuable crystals. Every step in the process was crucial for maximizing profits. Unlike low-rank beasts, the bodies of high-rank beasts held immense value due to the vast array of materials they provided: bones, leather, meat, and more. Jinwoo learned that a successful high-rank raid involved a meticulous order of operations. The hauling team retrieved corpses, the miners collected crystals, and only then could the strike squad engage the boss. This ensured maximum resource collection before the gate's closure upon the boss's defeat. The team leader, noticing Jinwoo's wide-eyed wonder at the massive beasts, explained the boss situation. Jinwoo, however, couldn't shake off the unsettling feeling of a monstrous presence lurking nearby. He questioned the leader's calmness towards the possibility of a boss rampage. The miner leader responds that such an occurrence is rare, but if it does happen, everyone left inside the dungeon would probably die. Jinwoo, sensing the enormity of the danger, muses that the terrifying creature might be right behind them. He asks the miner leader if he is scared, to which the leader confidently replies that he is not. He has been working for the Hunters Guild for 3 years, and nothing like that has ever happened. Jinwoo, unlike the others, could feel the immense power radiating from the boss. It dwarfed even the likes of Vulcan and Mateus. He was both impressed by Choi Jong-in and Cha Hae-in, who would face such a formidable foe, and the entire A-rank raid team. Despite varying ranks, each member played a vital role, contributing to the success and safety of the raid. Their strength stemmed not just from individual power, but from years of honed skills and experience. As the miners began their work, Jinwoo, the lone E-rank amidst them, surprised everyone with his proficiency. The leader, initially skeptical, acknowledged Jinwoo's talent after witnessing his skillful mining technique. Lunch break arrived, but Jinwoo opted to stay behind, claiming to have eaten beforehand. Finally alone, he saw his chance. He had a precious hour of free time. Glancing around the vast dungeon, his eyes fell upon a colossal figure. It was undeniably powerful, far exceeding Mateus. Jinwoo knew he could defeat it. But a nagging doubt remained. Engaging the boss would trigger the gate's closure, resulting in significant losses for the Hunters Guild. He wrestled with the decision: should he succumb to his strength and take on the challenge, or adhere to the raid protocol? Jinwoo's heart pounded as he was caught off guard by Cha Hae-in. Her sudden appearance sent shivers down his spine as he scrambled to hide his weapon. He'd gotten far too close to the boss's lair, lured by the irresistible temptation of a fight. What was I thinking? Jinwoo chastised himself, relieved she hadn't seen the weapon. He fabricated a story about getting lost, earning a stern warning from Cha Hae-in to stay away from the dangerous boss's lair. Impressed by her ability to sneak up on him undetected, Jinwoo couldn't help but admire Cha Hae-in's prowess. Her sharp senses, however, picked up on something strange. She suspected he'd been holding a weapon, and the lack of the usual hunter stench emanating from him triggered her curiosity further. Jinwoo apologized and began to leave, but Cha Hae-in felt a strange, powerful aura around him. Intrigued, she asked him to wait and took a whiff. The absence of the foul odor that typically clung to hunters surprised her. Jinwoo simply apologized again, unsure of what was happening. Cha Hae-in, perplexed, decided to examine his ID card. Seeing his E-rank status, her suspicion subsided, and she simply advised him to be careful on his way back due to the dungeon's size. Back amongst the miners, Jinwoo's encounter with Cha Hae-in was met with envy. They marveled at his luck, considering a conversation with the Vice Guild Master a rare privilege. Cha Hae-in, ever vigilant, patrolled the area to prevent the boss from rampaging. Her dedication and meticulousness were legendary amongst the miners, a stark contrast to their relaxed demeanor, oblivious to the boss's presence and the potent mana waves it emitted. One of the miners revealed a curious detail. Miss Cha possessed a heightened sense of smell that could detect a specific scent unique to hunters, which she found particularly repulsive. Jinwoo, piecing together the puzzle, realized this explained her constant use of a handkerchief. He wondered if this aversion had anything to do with Baruka's earlier statement about him lacking the hunter's scent and being undetectable by the ice elementals. Jinwoo's mind raced. The lack of the hunter's scent, his immunity to the ice elves' voices, and his status as a player all pointed towards something unique about his being. But what exactly did it mean to be a player? Meanwhile, the team leader showered Jinwoo with praise for his exceptional mining skills. The sheer volume of mana crystals he unearthed left everyone speechless. Grateful for the early completion, the leader offered Jinwoo a permanent position on his team, impressed by his natural talent. However, Jinwoo politely declined, explaining he had other commitments. The upcoming reevaluation loomed large, and Jinwoo felt confident he wouldn't need a mining job anymore. He had gained valuable insight into raid operations and felt prepared. Suddenly, news of another A-rank raid, this time undertaken by Strike Squad B, piqued his interest. The miner leader explained that the Hunters Guild's strength lay in its 2 A-rank raid squads, allowing them to tackle multiple high-rank gates simultaneously. Jinwoo, eager to learn more, secured a spot on the team for the following day. Back in the city, Jinho sits in a cafe with his cousin So-hyun. They are chatting when Jinho mentions that the cafe is a special place for him and Jinwoo. He shares that his recent talk with his father went well, hinting at his future plans. So-hyun, curious and excited, asks if this means Jinho is going to be a guildmaster now. Jinho explains that he needs Jinwoo's help for that, but then expresses his frustration about Jinwoo avoiding his calls. He mentions that Jinwoo had told him it would be difficult to contact him for a while, but a week without communication is unusual and concerning. Conversation was interrupted by a news report about Hallyu star Lee Min-sung's upcoming ranking evaluation. So-hyun scoffed at the supposed publicity stunt, believing it to be a mere formality for an already established A-rank hunter. She ranted about Min-sung's arrogant personality and his history of flirting, painting a picture of an attention-seeking narcissist. Despite this, So-hyun agrees to help Jinho with his issue. She takes his phone and tries calling Jinwoo, surprisingly getting through. Jinho is relieved when Jinwoo answers, and they exchange brief pleasantries. Jinwoo explains that he was in a dungeon, which is why he was unreachable. He asks about the talk with Jinho's father, and Jinho replies that it went well, but that he needs to discuss something important with Jinwoo. They arrange to meet the next day, albeit late at night, as that is the only time Jinwoo is available. As the call ends, Jinho prepares for his upcoming meeting with Jinwoo, hoping to secure his help for his future plans. The scene shifted to the Hunters Guild, where Cha Hae-in placed a late-night call. She requested information on a specific miner Sung Jinwoo, finding it odd that a low-ranked hunter like him would end up near the boss lair in a massive dungeon. The Hunters Guild staff, surprised by the late call, asked what she needed. Cha Hae-in explained her curiosity, noting that Sung Jinwoo, an E-rank hunter, had inexplicably found himself in the boss's lair. She speculated that he might be a spy from another guild, and admitted that she couldn't stop thinking about it. The Hunters Guild staff recognized the name, and mentioned that Mr. Choi had made the same exact request the previous day, asking to look into Sung Jinwoo's file. Cha Hae-in, intrigued, asked if they knew why. The staff apologized, saying they didn't know the reason but had been trying their best to find information. However, they explained that the Hunters Association had classified Sung Jinwoo's file, which was unusual for a hunter who wasn't even high-ranking. This piqued Miss Cha's interest even more. The master of the Hunters Guild was also curious about Sung Jinwoo, while the association seemed intent on concealing his information. This level of secrecy over an E-rank hunter was unprecedented. Cha Hae-in felt she was onto something significant. Out of all the hunters she'd encountered, Sung Jinwoo was the first one that left such a strong impression. As she pondered the mystery, she couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to Sung Jinwoo than met the eye. Thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed it. Until next time, happy watching!